midst of change. We come together to worship this Sunday and every Sunday because we are blessed, because we are all blessed, because we can all be a blessing. To be blessed is to say, is to insist that we are whole and worthy human beings, each of us. Blessed in all our happiness and joy, in all our worry and sorrow, in all our complex and shifting feelings around saying goodbye, as we must. And also saying hello to the new and the different. Today, we say hello to the wonderful, to the marvelous unfolding of life in all its intricacy and beauty. Once more we have gathered side by side, a circle of kinship. We are a circle of kinship that extends far back before I arrived among you. We are a circle of kinship that moves out into the distance beyond my time with you. We gather, we sing together our heart's own song, always an ever-widening circle of kinship, because we love one another. And love has no limit. Love can always expand, can always help us to draw the circle wider. Love makes room for the different. Love makes room for the new. In a spirit of solace and insight, I offer these words by George Kimmich Beach. Everything begins on the verge of awareness. The dawn is not, and then is. Sleep is, and then is not. In between is the awakening. The passage of thin light between breaks open the day. The passage of thin sound between flows into the day. Too soon the numbing rumble of traffic swells, the day glares. Let the soft haze hang again across the row of morning. Wait upon the narrow moment, the first awareness of being in between. Live days and seasons on the thin edge of dawn in praise that every single thing begins now. How about we sing together? Hymn number 360 in the Gray Book. reflection and meditation. Relax and breathe. Breathe together. A prayer for fathers and those who father. Let us be grateful for fathers today, for our own fathers, for the people who fathered us, for the fathers we hope to be. Let us be aware of the gift of fatherhood as so many migrant and immigrant men suffer separation from their children, while others of us celebrate a national holiday. In the words of Reverend Kirk Lodman Copeland, let us praise those fathers who have striven to balance the demands of work, marriage, and children with an honest awareness of both joy and sacrifice. Let us praise those fathers who, lacking a good role model for father, have worked to become a good father. Let us praise those fathers who, by their own account, were not always there for their children, but who continue to offer those children, now grown, their love and support. Let us pray for fathers who have been wounded by the neglect and hostility of their children. Let us praise those fathers who, despite divorce, have remained in their children's lives. Let us praise those fathers whose children are adopted and whose love and support has offered healing. Let us praise those fathers who, as stepfathers, freely choose the obligation of fatherhood and earn their stepchildren's love and respect. Let us praise those fathers who have lost a child to death and continue to hold the child in their heart. Let us praise a man, any man, all men who have no children, but cherish the next generation as if it were their own. Let us praise those men who have fathered us in their role as mentors and guides. Let us praise those men who are about to become fathers. May they openly delight in their children. And let us praise those fathers who have died, but live on in our memory, and whose love continues to nurture us. May it be so. And now for all of us, open your heart to the spirit of connection. Open your heart to the spirit of change. Change, the only constant in our human lives. Spirit of life and love, we come here today full of anticipation, full with knowing change is upon us, full with feeling the winds of change across our bodies and our expectations and our desires. We feel the change. May we embrace change, since it offers a chance to grow in new ways. May we embrace change, since we have no choice. May we embrace change, since it comes as a gift of life. In the midst of change, may we encourage transformation. May we enact acceptance. May we give our best, our fullest attention to the mystery of life unfolding us on the waves of our shared experience as a community. And may these words of Dana Folds guide and comfort us all. May grace abound and ecstasy too. In the fray of everyday life, may you embody your true nature. May you breathe in love and breathe out love until love is your only reality, even in the midst of challenge. May you not deny difficulties or the shadow side of life, but find divine providence inside even the hardest times. May miracles come your way often, and especially today. Amen. Let us now share the silence. stand with you today, a newly ordained minister. This could not be true. This would not be possible except for you. A piece of my heart will always remain here. Not an actual piece. That would be gross. And you will always have a place in my heart, no matter where I find a new home. And I will always hold this visible sign of your willingness to take on a student minister, a very raw minister. Your gift will remind me of how your love nurtured me into a better minister. I am better today than I was 2 years ago. But I have been, from the beginning, temporary. Always temporary. I had a sell-by date from the beginning. A change was in the wind since I arrived, and now new winds are here. Winds that will sweep me west onto the prairies. I'm always grateful. I'll always be grateful for the many ways you prepared me to take on this next challenge in my ministry. Of the many gifts I will cherish as I move forward, one is that of the sheer joy I experienced at worship here. I always thought Enter, Rejoice, and Come In was a good hymn. But the exuberance with which Bill plays, the energy with which you sing is truly unsurpassed. I think Buffalo was blown away when they heard me last week. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off, but I would like to try to get those Mankato people to adopt it. Try to match your verb and enthusiasm, though. I know that's a losing proposition. The folks in Mankato will never be a replacement for you, as much as I will love them. What I feel for you, I will always feel for you. Love is not pie. It is not finite. Love is always something. Love always makes more love. Of that you can be sure. Another of your great gifts to me has been potluck. I was too preoccupied the first few visits to the church to really appreciate your knack for hospitality. But in my first October here, I finally got it. No sooner had the service ended, no sooner had we joined hands, no sooner had we recited from memory, except for me, our aspiration of love, compassion, and commitment. No sooner had we extinguished the chalice, no sooner than all of that, and people flew into action, moving in all directions with purpose and love. The hymnals were collected and reshelved. The chairs rolled and rearranged. The tables unfolded and erected. Food appeared from fridge and oven and microwave. Plates and silverware from cupboards and drawers. Quickly, efficiently, with love, many hands making light work, moving toward a common meal. Each dish prepared singularly, all dishes shared mutually. People clustered together at tables, no one left to sit alone. Families not always sitting together. A sign I learned, not of division, but of spending time with folks seen less often than children or spouses. And at the end of the everything unwound in reverse. Food wrapped, dishes scraped and prepared for the dishwasher, tables stowed, chairs ready for worship next week. And one volunteer doing the final office for the community, running the carpet sweeper. I think it was Maureen that first time. I still marvel every month when I witness sanctuary transformed into parish hall, both equally sacred and holy. Your potlucks will always be a sign for me of great love, joyously enacted and bestowed. And I will take that great love forward with me. Your hospitality and warm welcome will sustain me as I find my feet in Mankato. And I will seek ever to offer such compassion and companionship to others. You know that companionship means together with bread. Potluck means feeding our bodies and our hearts. I am blessed to have received your love, and I pray that I have properly returned that love, and that you have felt my love for you. Maybe you know that film, Pay It Forward, 2000 film, a book by the same name. Hallie, Joel Osment, and Kevin Spacey and Helen Hunt were in that one. Or maybe an older film, a 1954 film called Magnificent Obsession with Rock Hudson and Jane Nyman. Both movies have similar premises underlying them. Do something good for someone with no expectation of reward or even acknowledgement. The more the good deeds are done secretly, the better. Now, it is no secret that there is love between us, no need for that love to be secret. But the love we have shared places upon us an obligation to share that love forward into new relationships, and for you, new ministers. We are all fortunate that the winds of change bring you a new minister, just as I am departing. With Eileen Casey Campbell, a new morning comes for UUCC. The light of hope, love, and peace shines upon each of your faces, bringing faith to guide your creation of home with warmth and mutual concern shared among you all. Show Eileen the patience and forbearance you showed me, and she will feel your blessing. Give Eileen the warm welcome you have bestowed upon me, and she will have abundant love to share with you, I have no doubt. Love is not pie, it is not finite. Love always is more love. That you can be sure. This minister who is coming to you, this you have earned. This is what you deserve. Your new minister is a sign of your commitment to liberal religion and the loving values our Unitarian Universalist faith calls you to display in the world. With your new minister, you accept the invitation to serve wholeheartedly the vulnerable and the oppressed of our community. You accept a summons to use your privilege for the good. And you have an outward sign showing all the world that Americans are not self-centered and selfish and without compassion and empathy. There is something uniquely possible behind every door. It's not let's make a deal. There is something uniquely possible behind every door. There is something full of grace through this door of new ministry. My love will be with you as you step with Eileen across the threshold through this amazing door. Your love will be moving me forward, and the love you create with Eileen will carry you forward. All of us loving forward into futures yet unknown. Your ministers may change, but your ministry to the world as a congregation will not change. It can't change. Just as our Unitarian Universalist values and commitments remain, binding us together as a community, linking us as congregations, connecting us through all time and space in a continuum for action, for goodness, justice, and truth. That is why we are all here. And you will need to be steadfast in those values, firm and resolute, unmoving in those, unchanging in those. There's a reason for this. Remember the words of Frederick Douglass, said out loud in company with the faithful and resolute, proclaimed for the first time right here in Canandaigua in 1857. Douglas's words: "If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, and it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will." No matter what party you belong to, no matter who you voted for, I urge you to test the actions of the current administration against our 7 principles and against our 6 sources of inspiration and grace. Is deportation of willing and able workers really in the best interest of, I quote, world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all? Is separation of children from parents fleeing famine and war a sign of, I quote, the inherent worth and dignity of all? Is the rollback of EPA emissions regulations helping, I quote, the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part? You know the answers, loving hearts. But remember, we are not alone in our efforts to bring more love into this world. Unitarian Universalists stand with many others who see the devastation being wrought and seeking to end it. On the matter of child separation at the southern border, for example, we find some perhaps unlikely allies in the National Association of Evangelicals and the Southern Baptist Convention, the U.S. Roman Catholic bishops, and the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Upholding our values in love, we are not alone. Hold fast to those as you move forward in your new ministry. I offer you now a blessing for the endings that are never simply endings, for the new beginnings always carrying us forward. I offer you a blessing in the midst of change, a blessing for holding space for powerful feelings. Let those feelings happen. A blessing for remaining stalwart and focused on the work of justice and compassion in a world desperately craving both. I offer this blessing for the work that you as a loving and resilient community will foster and sustain. Hear these words of Jan Richardson. Look, the world is always ending somewhere. Somewhere the sun has come crashing down. Somewhere it has gone completely dark. Somewhere it has ended with a gun, a knife, a fist. Somewhere it has ended with a slammed door, a shattered hope. Somewhere it has ended with the utter quiet that follows the news from the phone, the television, the hospital room. Somewhere it has ended with a tenderness that will break your heart. But listen, this blessing is meant to be anything but morose. It has not come to cause despair. It is simply here because there is nothing a blessing is better suited for than an ending. Nothing that cries out more for a blessing than when a world seems to be falling apart. This blessing will not fix you, will not mend you, will not give you false comfort. It will not talk to you about one door opening when another closes. it will simply sit beside you among the chards and gently turn your face toward the direction from which light will come, gathering itself about you as the world begins again. So let us, friends, let us feel all the feelings of joy and of sadness. For both joy and sadness remind us that we have loved each other, that parting is a very sweet sorrow, that we have made a difference to each other. No matter how circumstances change, your loving care, your loving kindness, and that which you fostered in me is always present, and it always matters. As we hold our tender feelings, may you love forward, embracing with open arms and warm hearts your new minister, a person newly blessed to serve you and who will be a blessing to you. And as you love forward, sharing ministry with a new minister, continue to be that beacon of light and love in this community and in the world. Let that light grow stronger and brighter in your new morning. Will you promise me that, friends? Will you promise? Today and every day, as you remember, you are loved, you are worthy, you are welcome, and you are needed. May you feel it so. A new day is breaking for you with new light and new energy. Let's rejoice in this moment, singing together hymn 1000 in the teal book.
We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Go in great love.
Yes, that was the problem. The problem was terrible. It's the next song.